I'm going to give you a couple of important tips about doing this metamorphosis project, things that I think you need to see to understand. The first one is creating the green screen that you're going to need for this project, because remember, the project is going to have a layer of video underneath the animated characters that you create. You're going to also shoot some video, and those two things are going to go together, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, video combined with animation. Should be pretty cool. But if you're going to do that, you have to set it up right. You have to have green screen behind your characters, because that green screen is what gets dropped out later, or keyed out is the term, when you're using the actual video and you want it to appear behind your characters. So that's the first piece, is the green screen. The second piece is just to remind you, you've done this before, but how to save a .pixel file. I don't want you to show me the video or the GIF file yet, or GIF. I still don't know what to say for that. It's crazy. I'm going to go to my grave not knowing what to say. You're going to not give me that yet. Eventually you will, but right now I just want to see how you've built your file. So you're going to save out a .pixel file that I can open up and see your layers and see your frames and see things kind of in detail. All right, so let's go, shall we? So we got a new drawing, 700 by 500. We say okay, and here is our workspace. I'm going to move me over here a little bit so I can see my frames. You need to be able to see your frames, right? If they're hidden, I guess, oh yeah, if this is not on, then you click GIF frames and you say lock frames, so that it changes the size of your canvas so that everything fits inside nicely and you can see what you're doing. Now let's review here. We've got a layers panel, and right now we only have one layer, and it's called background. Okay, I'm going to make a new layer, and now I have layer 1 and background. You are going to make, I hope, more than 2 layers for drawing. Okay, certainly more than 1 layer for drawing, but to keep your layers straight, let's go to the one that's now called background, and I'm just going to rename it, and it's going to be called green screen. Okay, and you say okay. Now if green screen happens to be in the wrong place, it's above layer 1, then you can just drop it using these arrows, and you want to make sure that it's always underneath everything else that you do. Okay, I'm going to rename this too. Why not? Because I just like to have things be kind of organized like that. Animation 1. But now back to my green screen. You got to click on the layer that you want to work on. I am going to make sure that my primary color is set to a nice bright green. So if primary color is out here already, I'm going to scroll down in my default colors until I get to a nice bright green screen green. Okay, I'm going to choose that one. It happens to be 76FF03. That looks like a green screen green to me, kind of a neon green. It's okay if you choose a different one. You just need to remember which one you chose. 76FF03. That's my primary color. I'm going to now go to my square tool, and I'm going to try to grab or drag a square across this entire layer, and that didn't work. Let's try again, and that didn't work either. What's going on here? Works from the top, okay, and then make sure, sometimes you got to kind of wiggle it around a little bit to make sure you get all the way to the edge. So now there's a very, very light green border around this, or a stroke as it is called, and I'm just going to go to my bucket tool. The same green is still my primary color, and I'm going to click in it and fill it, and now I have a green screen on the green screen layer, and I can hide it. I don't actually want to see this green screen yet. I'm going to go back frame by frame and unhide it, but for me, mean, I could leave it there, I suppose, as long as I'm editing on the animation layer all the time. But for me, I don't really like to see that green. It's going to give me a headache after a while, so I just hide it. Now I'm on frame 1, and it's time to start animating on my main animation 1 layer. Okay, so let's see. What are we going to do? What could be a very quick animation? Let's start with a I think I'm just going to do some sort of simple blob animation. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. I'm going to go to 2 frames. I'm going to make sure that I'm back to black and white. And I am going to, let's see, I'm on animation 1. So it's going to be a blob with a head. Okay. I'm going to erase the bottom here because I'd like this thing to be like on the ground. So P for pencil. So there he is. He's sitting on the ground. There's a blob with 2 big eyes. Now, I'm going to go back later and fill in these colors. I'm not going to do it right now. I'm going to do the animation first because it's a lot simpler just to go frame forward, fill, frame forward, fill, frame forward, fill, frame forward, fill. You'll see what I mean in a second. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to do this animation. Probably going to take me 15 or 20 minutes. Just going to be this blob jumping and landing, and then we'll look at it when I'm done. Before I go and keep animating this, I should remind you, or I should make it clear that when you go to copy the frame, that's how you're going to make a new frame. You have to copy it if you don't want to redo that whole green screen thing again, and you don't. That's just a pain, right? If you copy frame, that green screen, even though it's invisible right now, it's hidden, will paste into the next frame, into frame 2, right? It's there in frame 2 as well. I copied because I just want to make sure that green screen comes in. The easiest thing is to copy the green screen and delete your character, right? In most cases, you're going to delete the entire character and redraw it each time. So you use this select tool, you drag a box around the part you want to delete, and you click cut. Okay, you could paste it now if you wanted, but that's not the idea. The idea is just to cut it and get rid of it and start drawing fresh. Okay, so in my case, I'm going to draw the same character, but he's just going to be a little bit squatted down. So this circle goes a little bit lower. Okay, eyes go a little bit lower too. If you copy and paste things, you don't get the same kind of awesome hand-drawn animation effect. Okay, and the ground is going to be in the same exact place, but this time he's just kind of squatting down as he gets ready to do his jump. Or she, I don't really want to gender my blob here. And so yeah, that's the key to getting from frame 1 to frame 2 and keeping your green screen intact so that you can show it later. Okay, I'll pause now while I go ahead and do some more frames. Okay, so oh, it's probably an hour later, and I've done, not an hour, it's probably 45 minutes. Just make sure I know what I'm doing here. Okay, guys, I am back. It's I had to go do a duty. It's been a whole block, and then I ran my my painting and drawing class. So here I am. If I can remember where I was, think I spent about 45 minutes doing this animation. We can watch it. Little guy jumps up, try to add a little bit of character to his eyes and such. And yeah, I'm happy with that. There's no transformation here. Obviously, this is just an example of a simple animation, but the point was two things: to show you how to use the green screen and also to show you how to export a pixel, .pixel project. So, as I explained before, the green screen is now in every frame, okay? And I need to make it visible. So I'm going to do that, but at first I'm going to fill in my character. Now I'm going to have to do that. I'm going to use 3 different colors, and I'm going to go through every single frame, and I'm going to go through every frame, and first I'm going to do the body, and then I'm going to go through every frame, and I'm going to do the face, and then I'm going to do every frame, and I'm going to go through the eyes, because they're going to be different colors. It's just going to make life easier. So for example, for the body, and one thing I know I'm not going to do is use any kind of green color, because that will mess up my green screen later. Okay, so I chose this orange, I choose this, I'm going to frame 1, I'm on my animation layer, and I'm just going to click here, and then I'm going to go forward and click there, and forward and click there, and see how easy and fast that is. Now if there's circles and things where you didn't actually close the loop, you may have trouble, and you may end up having to go back through and you may have to use your pen or pencil tool and fix. See, this had a hole in it right there. So I'm going to say Control Z, and I'm going to go to the next frame. So it had a hole in it, so it tried to fill in the entire. So I'm going to say P for pencil, and I'm going to just fill this in, and it's going to be orange, and that's fine, because nobody will notice, right? And that makes that work. And now I've got my paint bucket tool again, and so that's looking like I'm just about done. I'm done with that. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to frame 1, and I'm going to color the face. What's a nice color to go with? Orangish, sort of a bluish, because you know, blue and orange are complementary colors. So let's make the face blue, and I'm just going to go through and make sure I'm getting the face in each one. And again, if there's any drawings where I didn't actually close the loop, I'm going to need to close the loop before I can use my paint bucket tool. That one made it. And bounces back, settles in, comes back up, and we are done. Now the eyes, I need to do the eyes. Even though they look fine against the white background, it won't be white once we have the background. So, right, because we're going to have a video background that's going to show. I don't want it to show through the eyes. So I need to go in, and maybe I'm just going to use white. So I'll switch this and that, and I'm just going to color this and that. Okay, this is going to take a little bit of time, but it's going to take less time than it would if I did it as I was drawing each frame. I might need to zoom in here. I wonder if I zoom in on this frame, will it stay zoomed in? Yes, look at that. That makes life a lot easier. And the eyes get squinted there. He blinks as he jumps. And do that. So now I can scroll up a little bit. Blinks again. Eyes go a little bit goggly. Okay. And we're done. Now the last thing I need to do, and that you need to do, is bring back my green screen, which means I'm just going to go frame by frame through, just like I did with everything else. And I'm going to say green screen, green screen, green screen, green screen, green screen. Okay. So it's just being production-minded. And production-minded just means, what are the systems that are going to make your life easier if you have to do something a bunch of times? How are you going to make it easy and so you don't have to work too hard? And that's it. My project is done, except for the adding the video. So we'll talk about that later. But for now, I am going to just say, and this is what you're going to say when it comes to exporting your PIXIL file, save as .pixel. Okay, blob, jump, December, Cabot, green screen. That's a long file name, but it's going to help me remember exactly what I'm doing. And then I'm also going to say file, download. No, I think this I'm doing the same thing here, but when I say preview, and then I say download GIF. And that will do the job. Thanks for watching.